A very good afternoon to one and all. This is Dr. Pranay Dute, and today we are going to discuss about the seismotectonics. What is mean by seismotectonic, and how we study, what kind of studies we are going to do. The objective of this present course is to know the basic concept of seismotectonic, how we divide the seismotectonic on the basis of seismotectonic any area. So, seismic waves provide the information about the active present day existing process in the subsurface. Analysis of earthquake faulting characteristics such as fault orientation, sense slip, and all. Seismic. So, you know that what is mean by seismic wave is nothing but the waves. Seismic waves is nothing but the waves that is generated from the earthquake. So, the spatial distribution of earthquake may be used to determine the location of plate boundaries, fault, direction of relative motion between the plates, the rate of earthquake occurrences in some particular area, and the cumulative displacement of the earthquake occurrences can be burst to infer the relative velocity between the plates. The study of relationship between earthquake, active tectonic, and individual plate of a region is known as the your seismotectonic, or the study of active faulting and the relationship plate motion and lithospheric properties is also a different characteristic. So, what kind of study has been done to understand a seismotectonic, or what is the significance of seismotectonic study? It is an understand or which fault are responsible for seismic activity of an area by analyzing the composition of regional tectonic, recent instrumentally recorded event, account of historical earthquake, geophysical data. So these all are the significant of the earthquake. This information this information can then be used to quantify. This information can then be used to quantify the seismic hazard of an area. So, what is the concept of plate tectonic? What is the concept of plate tectonic? So, earthquake are very closely related to the tectonic activities. Earthquake are closely related to the tectonic activities. Therefore, it is necessary to understand the basic concept of plate tectonic. There is a mobile lithospheric concept. What is the mobile lithospheric concept? It is believed that the lithospheric plate are very much solid in nature. The plates are very much solid in nature, and they are uh, lying on a what we can say the mobile plates that is known as the asthenosphere. They are mostly rely on the mobile plate uh, that is known as your asthenosphere. So lithosphere and asthenosphere, this is a basic two concept. Lithosphere and asthenosphere, this is two basic concept which we use to describe the theory. So, what is the concept of plate tectonic? Concept of plate tectonic: lithosphere are there, asthenosphere are there, mesosphere. These are the classification depending upon the mechanical properties of the this one. This is a concept of mechanical properties of the lithosphere, asthenosphere, and mesosphere. Lithosphere is highly viscous region. Lithosphere is a highly viscous region which movement involve the shearing motion as the boundaries and produce the shear faulting earthquake. Then we have a asthenosphere which is relatively less viscous, mesosphere relatively viscous. Then what is the seismicity and plate boundaries? So release in seismicity there is a release of strain energy by a seismic event which is restricted to the inhomogeneous stress region, that is a plate boundaries. So there is a different plate boundaries. There is a different plate boundaries we have. So this all yellow dot, this all the yellow dot is nothing but a earthquake, a earthquake which has been occurred in some of the different areas. Then what is the seismicity and plate boundaries? So there is a three different type of plate boundaries. There is a three different type of plate boundaries. One is divergent plate boundary. One is divergent plate boundary. Another one is convergent plate boundary, and third one is transcurrent plate boundary. So divergent plate boundary, when there is a two plates, like this one is a two plates, two different plates. When they get away, when they go away, this, so I will explain you this concept, using the whiteboard. What is the convergent, divergent, and so first one is a convergent plate boundary. So this is a plate, one plate. This is another plate. So when this two plate is moving, when this two plate moving on the same direction, means in opposite direction, but towards the each other, that is known as your convergent plate boundary. This is known as your convergent plate boundaries. Then the two plates, and the two plates get away from each other. When the two plates get away from each other, this is known as the divergent plate boundary. This is known as the divergent plate boundary. Convergent, divergent. Third one is a transform plate boundary. What is the transform plate boundary? When two plates, and the two plates, one is going on another direction, one is going into the another direction. When these two plates is get uh, actually passing to each other, okay, on a passing to each other, so that also known as a transform fault. Also, San Andreas is the best example for this one. This is known as your transform plate boundaries. So if you understand, this is a three different kind of boundaries we have. This is a three different kind of boundaries we have. So divergent plate boundary, convergent plate boundary, and transcurrent plate boundary. This is the three different kind of boundaries we have. Three different kind of boundaries we have. So how the seismicity and plate boundaries can be related to each other? The divergent and transcurrent plate boundaries are characterized by shallow seismicity. Divergent and transcurrent plate boundaries are characterized by shallow seismicity. So how we can prepare the seismotectonic map? How we can prepare the seismotectonic map? Seismotectonic map show the geology, that is the structure of this one, geomorphology, water feature, fault, lineament, shear zone, past earthquake events. So this all is shown by the seismotectonic map. These all are shown by the seismotectonic map. Geology refer Geology is referring to the a structure, means whether there is any fault, whether there is any fault is present there. Geomorphology is nothing but whether there is any structural feature, like what the type of landform is there, whether it is a alluvial landform, wind form based, something like that. Water feature is if you have a lake, ocean, or something, glacier in this type of. Then we have a fault. What is mean by fault? Fault is nothing but if you have a orientation, if you have orientation like geometry, fault plane, and all, that is your fault. Then you have a shear zone. When you have a shear zone, then past earthquake. So most important is the past earthquake report. So a careful study and compilation of data A careful study and compilation of data will be devoted to the historical and instrumental seismicity. Regional and local maps may include Regional and local maps may include earthquake magnitude as low as magnitude 1, but the final seismotectonic map will have to consider a magnitude larger than magnitude 4. The plate movement sketch with kinematic indicator. Plate sketches map with the principal stress direction. A seismotectonic zonation. A seismotectonic zone is considered to be a geographic region. A seismotectonic zone is considered to be a geographic region of some geological, geophysical, and seismological similarity with uniform earthquake potential. In a particular seismotectonic zone, the seismicity is the assumed uniform homogeneous throughout the zone. Seismotectonic zonation provide the basis for seismotectonic zonation provide the basis for seismic hazard assessment. Now, what is the seismotectonic zonation? Can the tectonic zone consider as a seismotectonic zone? We will see. So, how we prepare the seismotectonic zones? How we prepare the seismotectonic zone? There is a regional tectonics, integrated data sets, geomorphology, earthquake reports, scale limitation. So, this is how we can prepare the seismotectonic zonation map. So there is an understanding, there is a basic understanding about the regional tectonics. How we are study the regional tectonics. So if you are studying in the Himalaya, you know that Himalaya is divided into the different parts like lesser Himalaya, higher Himalaya, and all. Then we have a understanding of a regional tectonic of an area likely to be derived from published geological maps, research publication on the geological structure, and seismic reflection data. So this is the 2 to 3 parameter we are used to see. Then seismically, geomorphology also suggests the seismically active fault and related fault generated fault have a direct effect on the geomorphology of the region. This may allow the direct identification of active structure. This may allow the direct identification of active structure not previously known. In some cases, such an observation can be used to quantitatively constrain the repeat period of the major earthquake. The seismotectonic zonation of an area requires the integration of large number of disparate databases. Satellite image, so integrated data sets is nothing but you have 4 different kind of data sets. So first one is the satellite images, then digital elevation models, geodig maps, and earthquake seismicity data. So this is the 4 different kind of data sets we can use. Then fifth is the geophysical data. So we have a sufficient information available from the seismometer to allow the location, depth, and magnitude. In terms of the identifying the fault that is responsible for the earthquake where there is a no clear surface trend, recording the location of aftershock generally gives a strong indication of the strike of the fault. Then earthquake historical record. So to understand a long-term seismicity of an area, to understand the long-term seismicity of an area, information from the earthquake before the era of the instrument recording are required. There is a careful assessment of historical data. There is a careful assessment of historical data in terms of their reliability mandatory. In so you have a now you can now require a data set. So first one is the instrumental data. We know that from the human history suggests that the instrument for the various measurement like rainfall, temperature, and all are came very late in the late 18th century or early of 19th century, we are enough to have measure all these things. So from that onward, like for a 200 to 300 year, 250, 300 year, we have a good amount of instrumental record. So they are giving us sufficient information about, they are giving us sufficient information about uh, location, what is the location of that particular earthquake, depth of that earthquake, and magnitude of that earthquake. So this is a three different kind of record we get from that earth instrumental data. In terms of identifying the fault, in terms of identifying the fault responsible for the earthquake where there is a no clear surface trace, recording location of aftershock generally gives a strong indication of strike of the fault. To understand the long-term seismicity of an area, to understand the long-term seismicity of an area, information from the earthquake before the era of instrumental recording are required. There is a careful assessment of historical data in terms of their reliability is mandatory. So whenever we don't have a instrumental data, whenever we don't have a instrumental data at that time of span, we are going toward the historical data, like they are something written in books and in some of the we can say the so a written form, but just like a comparative study, like we have a big earthquake like that, so we don't have that number that how much on an instrumental data, instrumental scale, like 4 Richter scale, 6 Richter, so nothing like that. So how much damage is can be created by that earthquake is only the criteria to define that whether the earthquake is big enough or small enough. So historical records suggested that all the careful assessment of the historical data in terms of reliability is mandatory. In most cases, in most of the cases, all that can be derived, all in most cases, all that can be derived is an estimate of location and magnitude of the event. However, such data is needed to fill the gaps in the instrumental record, particularly in the area with either relatively low seismicity or where the repeat period of our major earthquake is more than 100 years. So earthquake also studied by the field investigation. So information on the timing of the magnitude of the seismic event, information on the timing and the magnitude of the seismic event that occurred before instrumental record can be obtained from the excavation across the fault that are thought to be seismically active and by studying recent sedimentary sequences for evidences of seismically active fault. So seismically active fault and related fault generated fault have a direct effect on the geomorphology of a region. This may allow a direct identification of active structure not previously known. In some cases, such a observation can be used to qualitatively constrain the repeat period of major earthquake. There is a seismicity map of Northwest Himalayan fold and thrust belt for the pre-instrumental and instrumental earthquake. So this is a map which can suggest the two different reports. So seismotectonic zonation map of the Northwest Himalayan fold. So seismotectonic map of the Northwest Himalayan fold and thrust belt for the period of 1904 to 2006. In order to understand the seismic hazard, in order to understand the seismic hazard of an area, it is necessarily not only to know where the potentially active fault, it is not needed to know the potentially active fault, but also orientation of stress field. So when we are doing the seismic hazard, when we are doing the seismic hazard, normally seismic hazard will do the this all. This is normally derived from the combination of earthquake data, borehole breakout analysis, direct stress measurement, and the analysis of geologically young fault network. The World Stress Map project provides a useful online compilation of such a data. So this is all the data sets. This is all the data from which we can assume the from which we can assume this all the sites. So what kind of data we need? This is the most important things in this lecture. What kind of data we need? What is the what kind of indication? Okay, what kind of indication and what kind of data sets we need to